Well, there's nobody in here now, but I'm just going to start rambling on, and then as people come in, drop me some questions. I planned on doing just a regular video for this, for like the recap of Dolidze versus Imamov, um, UFC Fight Night Vegas '85. So there's nobody in here yet. I wanted to see how my audio is. I do have a mic here, so I'll plug it in right now, and then we'll find out as people come in if it's any better. So hopefully you can still hear me, and it sounds good. Um, all right, well, I'm just gonna start going. I'm excited to see how this is gonna work. I'm doing this off of my iPhone right now, and I don't know how it's gonna work, like with the chat and all that stuff. So I'd be excited to see if what that is gonna be like. Um, I don't I don't know how it's all gonna work. Anyway, we'll find out. We'll find out together. Me and 0 people. Um, well, there's one person in the chat I see. If you are in here, hey Paku, there you go, bro. My first ever live chat person. This is fucking awesome. You're the man. So how does the audio sound? Does it sound good? Let me know. Also, so I was gonna do a live video or a just a regular. Awesome, thank you so much. I was gonna do just a regular video for the post-fight recap. I took notes all during the fights and everything. So you know, as people come in, I'll just answer questions, and if I don't have anything to answer, I'll just start going through my spiel I was gonna do in the video. So, all right, well. Yeah, it's me, TJ Spartacus, dude. Same guy from. You see me in the chat with AJ Spartacus MMA. So, what what'd you think of the card? What what was your take on it? I mean, it started off pretty fucking slow. The first 3 fights were not that great. I mean, the very first fight, Pogues versus Peterson. Yeah, of course. That's fine with me. I've been called much worse than that. So TJ works for me. Um, so the first fight of the night was what you would expect from two, fat heavyweights, two guys who should probably be fighting at 185 but are fighting at, you know, heavyweight because they like pizza. But it was a unanimous decision for Pogues, which I get it. I bet on Peterson, so I was a little biased. I thought Peterson, won the fight 2-1, but the judges gave it 3-1 to Peterson. Then the next fight, Quinones versus Medeiros, I think his name is. That was just I don't know. That sucked too. It was back and forth. Just didn't seem like a very high level fight. Seemed almost something you'd see on LFA. Then we had Stoliarenko versus Carolina. That was another. Well, that was a typical shit. So sorry if this is awkward. Like I said, I'm figuring this shit out as I go. But the message pops up and then fades away. So yeah, I thought Peterson won as well. Um, for the future, I'm gonna have to switch this up. I'm gonna have to get like a tablet or something because there's no way I'll be able to keep up with the chat if there's any more than fucking 6 people in this thing. So Stoliarenko versus Carolina. That was a late third round TKO by Carolina. Stoliarenko was just spamming her jiu-jitsu. She pulled guard a couple times. She has a savage armbar. Everybody knows it, and she almost caught Carolina with it, but she didn't. And then Carolina had a weak ass ground and pound TKO stoppage. Then we had our first decent fight of the night: Blake Builders versus uh, Jung Young Lee. That was just a domination by Lee. I mean, it seemed like fucking start to finish, Lee was just the better fighter, you know? Blake Builders is a tough guy. I don't know. Lee, he has some potential. I mean, Builders is getting up there. I don't see him going anywhere, you know? He'll have a decent career in the UFC, but I don't see him making any waves. Jung Young Lee, on the other hand, time will tell. He's a young dude. He fought a great fight. He won a unanimous decision. So, what more do you want from the kid? Then we had Garimbo versus Rodriguez. Here, I appreciate it, man. Dude, I've been thinking about doing this shit for years. I saw AJ back when he had like fucking, I don't know, 1,000 subscribers, maybe something like that. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. We have a fucking, watch along with the fights. And then, like, you know what? I could do that. I could fucking. But it took 4 years for me to get the balls to turn this camera on and point it towards me and start rambling on about MMA. I mean, it's just something that I love. I always loved combat sports. Ever since I was a little kid, I was in karate when I was just a real little guy. And then later in life, like 5, 6 years ago, I got back into it real serious, taking jiu-jitsu and judo. And I've been into the UFC and MMA since. The first MMA fight I ever seen actually was a Pride fight. It was on a DVD my mom brought home for me because she thought the DVD was a movie like Bloodsport, because I love the movie Bloodsport. So I asked her to get me like a karate movie or whatever I called it back then, and she brought home a DVD. And I remember on the cover was Fedor Emelianenko's brother. I can't think of his name right now. Oh, what the fuck was his name? And then I'm having a brain fart too on who was the black guy who was like a pioneer in MMA. He was one of the first like well-rounded fighters. He was out of Canada. I'm gonna think of his name as soon as I shut this live off. Anyway, it was just like a mix of like Pride fights and early UFC, and I was like, oh my god, this is like Bloodsport in real life. What is this? And then I just been hooked ever since. The UFC, the first the first time they had that TV show, and Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner fought in that crazy fight on Spike where everyone was calling their friends and their ratings went through the roof. That was actually on my 18th birthday. I remember watching that in the living room at my dad's house, and he's an old school, like boxing fan. He's like, what the fuck is this shit? This is terrible. These guys are beating the hell out of each other. It's like human cockfight. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. And I've been hooked ever since, following it. Now I haven't missed unless I'm working or something like that, I haven't missed a card in years. So anyway, I don't know how we got off on that tangent, but that's just a little bit about my experience with this stuff, how I got into being a UFC fan. Garimbo and Rodriguez, that fight. Garimbo came out, threw a fucking giant overhand right, and sent Rodriguez to the land of wind and ghosts. I actually had a bet on Pete Rodriguez because I had a feeling that as soon as he got the fight to the ground, Garimbo wouldn't be able to, he wouldn't. He has no ground game. I figured, all he has to do is not get hit with a big giant overhand right and fucking get this thing to the ground and let him cook a little bit. Should be an easy victory. I'll make a couple bucks, no problem. Well, Garimbo had fucking different plans for tonight. Good for him. I think he's from Zimbabwe or something like that, but I don't know. Good for him. He seemed like a seemed like a decent guy. He's talking about his family and, you know, he's a hard worker. I appreciate it, dude. For He says I put a link to your live in a few MMA discords. That's another thing too. When I'm on other people's lives, I see sometimes they just answer the question without reading it, and if I'm just listening to the live like a podcast, I'm like, oh well, what the fuck did the guy ask? So I'll try to make a point to reading the questions, but I appreciate it. All right, next Charles Johnson and how I don't know how. That's another thing I'm gonna have to do is practicing saying these fools' names. Fucking Maxim was his last name, but Azat Maxim. Charles Johnson, man. He fucking he did it. He weathered the storm early. Um, it was a great fight. You know, Maxim hit him with a big. I don't know what it was, what the combination was, but it put Charles Johnson on his ass, and he was scrambling. The commentators were, you know, making comments about Charles Johnson wiping his face off, and that just seemed like a little idiosyncrasy that he had, because even when he regained his composure, he kept like wiping his face for whatever reason. You know, like Dustin Poirier pulling up his shorts. It's just kind of like something that he does. But he weathered the storm in the first round. Um, and he came back and won the second two handedly. I mean, it was a great fight. He was on the chopping block too. So says Maxim needs to work on his cardio and durability. For sure. I mean, I don't know what exactly he can do to work on his durability, but he definitely gassed later in the last two rounds, and I Charles Johnson just started, putting him on him. At first, it seemed like Maxim's strikes were having way more effect than Johnson's, and the script flipped. Like halfway through the second round, it was a totally different fight. Now all of a sudden, you got Charles Johnson on his horse, backing up Maxim and just going after it. I said, I know it sounds bad, but more hard spars in the gym. That's true. Now I know Paku. I believe you're a boxer, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? If that's the case, I'd like to get your thoughts on this because, like I said, I do a little jujitsu and judo, but we don't, take a lot of headshots in our sparring. So there's he says, yes, sir, I am. There's a school of thought that once you reach a certain level, you already know how to fight. So let's work on our cardio, our technique, all that stuff. There's no point in throwing down and getting after it. Now I do completely agree that when you're starting out, you're gonna have to spar hard. You know, when you're a younger guy, you're gonna have to know what it feels like to get punched in the face and keep your composure and do what you got to do. But what do you feel? How do you feel about more well round or guys who are further along in their career? Like Max Holloway, for example. He's notorious or famous now for not sparring. Um, what's your take on that? I'd like to get your thoughts, Paku, because like I said, I don't take headshots in what I do, so I'm just I just have friends that do Muay Thai and all that stuff, and like it seems like they're split. You don't want to leave. You don't you know you don't want to leave any good years in the gym. I mean, brain damage is a real thing, especially for these professional fighters. But you also don't want to not know how to keep your composure when you do get hit in the face. I mean, it's a huge part of it. So, like I said, if you see this, let me know. Put your thoughts in the comments, and we'll move on. So yeah, that was it. Charles Johnson pulled it out with the last two rounds. I believe he won the fight 29-28 on all three judges' scorecards, deservedly so, and he got the job done. Good for him. It's his stupid fucking haircut. I don't. Of all the haircuts in the world, why would you? He has like a little tuft of hair on the back of his head, and everything else is shaved. He just fucking weird guy, but whatever. If that's what he likes, that's what he likes, I guess. All right, now we got Meatball Molly McCann and Diana I'm not even gonna try and say this last name. Um, all right, so that's another thing that's going to be an issue. Like your comment came up really fast, and then it when I looked away, it vanished, and I can't go back and get it. So bear with me through this live chat. I'm going to be getting a tablet or a laptop hopefully in like the next week. I already ordered a microphone, so hopefully sometime next week, the following week at the latest, I'll have a laptop or a tablet. This way I'll be able to follow along with the chat like here on the side, and this also I can edit videos and just get this a little more serious. So if you do post a longer comment and I don't get to it, I can't read it all at once, post it again or just bear with me because like I said, this is my first time ever going live and I'm just trying to, figure everything out and see exactly how I'm going to go about this in the future. So right now that's an issue. I'm sure it's a setting. I'm sure if I fucked around with this, I could have it so the comments just stay up on the screen. But right now, they pop up as you post them and then they vanish. So if I miss one, forgive me. I'll fuck around with this later and try and figure out how I can make the comments stay up. But we have the fucking Molly McCann and Deanna. I don't even know how to say her name, and I'm not going to try because we're not going to talk about this fight very long. But Molly looked great at 155. I don't know what it was. I know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't she miss weight at a higher weight class, or was that still at 155? I know she missed weight. I don't know which weight class it was at, but that was a thing. She looked fantastic tonight. She looked in great shape. She wasn't sucked out at all. I didn't see her on the scales. Uh, what's up, brother? Um, I didn't see her on the scales, but she looked filled out, looked good in the cage tonight, and she fucking was doing her thing, man. Did an excellent job on the feet, got the fight to the ground, put on that armbar, and literally broke the bitch's arm. Like, oh. I mean, she tapped, but you. Here we go. He says, you need to feel that real fight pressure before you get back in the real cage. Paku, I feel you there. You definitely do need to take those, you need to feel those shots coming in. I'm excited for Road to UFC. Aj, is that, I've never watched one before. Is that on Fight Pass? What's the deal with that? I mean, I'm down to consume any fucking UFC MMA content I can. But just to finish my thoughts on Molly, yeah, she broke the broad's arm, looked absolutely fantastic, and all right, it's on Fight Pass. I'll have to check it out. And on to the next one from here. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm not a big fan of women's MMA. I don't follow it that closely. I mean, I know who Molly McCann is because, you know, she's relatively more famous, but I just not something I get excited for. I'm not. You're not gonna find me, spending a lot of time breaking down upcoming women's MMA fights. It's just not something I'm into. Next, Gilbert Urbina and freaking Chuck Buffalo Radke. I put Radke was a plus 185 dog, and I put a 1 unit bet on him just because of his nickname, Chuck Buffalo. I thought that was fucking cool. His post interview speech, I don't know, came off kind of douchey, but he lands a big left hand, followed up a ground and pound, and that was it. First round TKO, underdog win. It was. I was just happy to see my ticket cash, and I think for me, I don't bet a lot. I bet just enough money to make the fights a little more exciting to watch. If it's two people that I don't really know that much, or if it's like a fight night card like this that don't have a lot of big names, I'll go through. I'll make a few bets. My channel. This isn't gonna be like MMA experts. I'm not going to. AJ does an excellent job, and he hangs his hat on his picks. Like that's his thing. And when guys come to the chat and bust his balls about his picks not hitting and all that shit, I feel bad for because dude, it's MMA. Like, you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. Anything can. It's a fight. Anything can happen in a fight. Betting on this shit is ridiculous. This is like, you know, betting on which raindrop is gonna make it down the windowsill first. It's fucking. Who knows what's gonna happen? I mean, you can watch your, study tape and do your due diligence and look at, what guys have done in the past and try to make an educated guess. That's what we're doing. But I'm not I'm not going to be spending a lot of time um, giving my picks and that stuff on this channel. That's not really going to be my thing. So I'm more into I like breaking down the fights technically. I'm a dork for grappling, so if there's like you know cool scrambles or something, stuff like that. I like the technical aspect of MMA and all sorts of stuff, news, everything like that. I'm just saying I'm not going to be a pick 'em bet guy. So most volatile sport to gamble on, very hard to get right consistently. Consistency. Paku, I agree 100%. I mean, like everything I just said, you can't. I mean, uh, I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, unless you're doing this for fun. I mean, I could you imagine like putting real money on these fights and then some guy who's a plus 200 underdog freaking throws a big right hand or an eye poke or something crazy like that. I mean, betting on MMA is just unless you're a complete degenerate and you just bet on anything and you're putting big money on it, it's just something to do for fun. Saying that I was up 55 units last year at $100 a unit. Holy fuck, dude! my units are $20 right now, and I'm not keeping track of where I am. I know I'm like way in the fucking hole, and that's all that matters to me. I just like each week I'll take $100 and I'll break it up between parlays and all my bets, and then I hope by the end of the night I have more than $100. I actually did really good tonight. Tonight I ended up making $80 on the fights, which, for me is awesome. Are you serious? Are you? Paku just said it's his source of income. He said he quit his job to study fights full time, and that's how he makes his income. Are you fucking around with me? Is that really how you make your money? Because, dude, I give it to you, man. That's, whew. I wouldn't be able to enjoy watching the fights. It would be. I'm a crazy diehard Bills fan. I'm not a huge fan of football, but being born and raised in Buffalo, I'm like a diehard fan of the Buffalo Bills. Um, and he says I'm dead serious. I spend 50 hours a week studying. Wow, man, that is well. You're gonna be my go-to guy next time I really, really need my $20 bet to come through. But good luck to you, man. I hope everything works out for you and you freaking crush it this year. You got bigger balls than I do, man. I'm just like naturally too much of an anxious person. Like I was saying before, I'm a diehard um, Bills fan, and like during the games, they're almost not even enjoyable for me to watch because I like it means so much to me that they win. And it just because I was brought up like that. I was a little kid when they were going to the Super Bowls and shit, and it's something that was like huge in my family and just in this area in general. The Buffalo Bills are part of the culture in the city, and it's my father and I are super close, and that's like we love the outdoors and the Buffalo Bills, and like that that's our thing, and it's I say it all the time. I wish I didn't care so much, and I think if I was like you and that was like my source of income, I would be so anxious during the fights all the time that it wouldn't be enjoyable to watch. How did you do tonight? What was your what'd you come away with for winnings on tonight's card? I'd like to know. All right, guys. Well, next we will go with oh the Muradov fight. Yeah, so that shit ends in a fucking no contest eye poke. What a non-event that was. Then we have Arroyo and Silva. That was a good fight. Silva's just clearly outclassed her. She's the better striker. She's faster, more accurate. Arroyo didn't have anything for her on the feet, and she couldn't take her down. She'd get her up against the cage, and Silva would circle off and piece her up. And she was just so fast with the head kicks, the jab, everything. It was just completely outclassed. I believe she won a decision, right? Yeah, yeah, unanimous decision. That was just your another typical woman's fight. You know, one suit way better than the other. I've learned to separate my gambling mind with my enjoying fights mind. So I still enjoy when I'm getting shit on. Well, fuck, good for you, man. That's awesome. You know, that's one reason why I started this YouTube thing is because who knows, maybe in 5 years, 6 years, I can actually, you know, at least supplement my income doing this shit. Because right now, I'm uh, I'm a construction worker basically. I'm in the elevator industry. I build elevators, but it's not. I don't enjoy it. I'm grateful for it. It's a really good job, but I I don't enjoy it at all. It's just a job, and I don't want to spend the majority of my life doing something that I don't enjoy. You know, and that's what's going to happen if I don't find a way to supplement my income. So I sat down. I thought about what do I love to do? I love to watch MMA. And can you make money watching MMA? No, but you can make money talking about MMA. So here I am, rambling on into my fucking phone at midnight on a random Saturday night, trying to fucking figure this shit out. But all right. Now we have Randy Brown and Muslim Salikov. That was I can't believe those two guys are in the same weight class. It was like Randy Brown was like his big brother, towering over Muslim. It was, and he did exactly what he had to do. Muslim was having some luck with the low kicks and that on that lead leg, chipping away at him a little bit, and but Randy Brown just kept him at the end of the punches. He threw a nice double jab, followed up with a straight right cross right on the button, boom, put Muslim down, and I don't even think he had to follow up with any ground and pound. He just landed that straight right cross, and that was it. Paku says, Randy looked great. I picked and bet the TKO. That's awesome. I had Randy Brown parlayed with Silva. So that was great. That was my little mini parlay that hit. I had a buddy text me right before the Randy Brown fight asking me what he should bet. And I'm like, well, I think Randy's going to win. I wasn't sure if it was going to go to decision or not, but I'm like, I don't know. But I ended up did tell him, I'm like, you know what? Take Randy Brown to win by TKO. If he does, I wasn't sure if he was just going to, you know, piece him up because Muslim Salikov's a pretty tough fucking guy. So I wasn't sure. Is he just going to, you know, pick and poke here and there for 3 rounds and take it to a decision? But I knew Randy Brown wasn't going to submit him. So I figured bet the TKO. If Randy does win inside the distance, it's going to be a knockout. And sure enough, it was. He made a couple bucks. I made a couple bucks. And so did Paku. So all's well that ends well there. All right, guys. Now we're getting into the good shit. Renato Moicano versus Drew Dober, man. What a great fucking fight. I took a bunch of detailed notes on this one. I broke the main event and the co-main down like round by round. So we'll go through this shit. Round one, so the fight starts. They both come out swinging, and Dober definitely has a little more heat on it than Moicano. You you can see when Dober lands, it's having a little more effect than when Moicano lands. But Halfway through the first round, Money Moicano lands a nice takedown, gets him on the ground, ends up in top half, and Drew Dober has him in lockdown. That's when you basically put a triangle around your opponent's leg. You figure four your legs around theirs. It's called the lockdown. You can even you put your a triangle around their leg, and then you sneak your foot underneath their foot. And as you straighten your legs out, it causes a little bit of pain for your opponent, but it locks you guys in that position. So, a lot of guys who like to play half guard will get to that position, that lockdown, then they'll start to rock their knees back and forth. You'll bring your knees into your body and then straighten your legs out, and bring your knees into your body and straighten your legs out. And what that does is that causes a little distance. It creates space, and space is what you need as the guy on the bottom to do whatever you got to do to get a sweep, dig an underhook, whatever you have to do to try and get back to your feet. But Dober wasn't doing any of that shit. He just got the lockdown so the lockdown and 3/4 mount, it's a great position for both people. It's a completely 50-50 position. Depending on who is better in that position, both guys can do. As the guy on top, it's hard to really with the lockdown, it's hard to land, finish a lot of submissions. It looked like Money Moicano was going for an arm triangle a lot, that's my favorite submission. I play a lot of half guard on top and bottom, and I love to go for the Katakatami arm triangle from on top in half guard. But Drew Dober wasn't playing the lockdown to try and dig an underhook and work back up to his feet. He was just locking that shit down because he didn't want Moicano getting the mount, you know. So the round ends off with Money on top in the half guard lockdown position. They go to round 2. So Moicano, as soon as round 2 starts, he comes out. He gets a takedown right away. Drew Dober, he's able to work back up to his feet. Moicano holds on to the body lock. They run to the cage. He ends up dragging him back down, and they end up back in that fucking lockdown position. So, I have here at 1:20 of round 2, Dober gets up, and Drew Dober hits a beautiful lateral drop, which is actually a really popular takedown in gi jiu-jitsu. You do not see it that much in no gi or MMA. It's, if anything, it's a Greco-Roman style takedown. But what you would do in gi jiu-jitsu is you would have one lapel and an arm on the other side, and you would use your opponent's momentum against them. So as they start to rush into you, you drop your weight, you look behind you, and you take your opponent and you throw him this way over your head. It's called a lateral drop. It's a great big guy move. So that's another thing that I really like to do, especially in gi jiu-jitsu. I do it with a double lapels. But in this case, Drew Dober obviously doesn't have lapels, so we used an overhook, which is a common way to do it. You can have an overhook and an underhook, or an overhook and a wrist grip. I believe he had one over and one under, which is the common Greco-Roman style way to do it. And Money Moicano gave him that energy he needed, and he fucking went for it. It's one of those moves that you got to give it everything you got, because it's either going to work or you're going to end up on bottom, which is what happens to Drew Dober later in the fight. But anyway, he has that overhook, and he fucking throws Money Moicano. Beautiful lateral drop. Let's see how that ends up. So then I have that. He throws a lateral drop, and then he ends up capitalizing on it with some good ground and pound, and the second round ends, and I actually had it 1-1 at that point. So now we're going into the third. They start out, they're both landing shots, but Drew Dober's is landing his bigger shots, the punches that he's landing are definitely having more of an effect. This is early on in the third round. So now, um, Moicano, same thing. I can't believe the exact uh, takedown that he did, but Drew Dober was able to stand um, right back up. And now Moicano chased him back down. He takes him down again, and they end up in that fucking same thing. Drew Dober has the lockdown. And when you're in lockdown, if you want to get out of it, what you have to do as the person on top is you actually have to push away from the guy on bottom, and that puts pressure on his leg. So he'll actually try and and let go because it's like a half-ass kind of calf slicer. If you start pushing away while the person on bottom has lockdown. But I say that because Dober has Moicano locked down and fucking who was that? Herb Dean? Oh no, that was I can't think of the fucking reps. Mark Smith. And he's as soon as they get on the fucking ground, come on guys, work. Let's work, guys. Let's work. What the fuck do you think they're doing? They're grappling. It's work. Like, you know, as a grappler, it's you can't land a knockout punch. You got to let your opponent cook. You got to, you know, like it isn't going to happen in a second. And not every second of uh, grappling competition in this fight, an MMA fight, but the grappling portion of it, not every second of it is going to be a fucking crazy scramble. You know, like it pisses me off so bad. Like I get it. If you get one guy, he's laying on his back, he's got the other guy in full guard, and they're both kind of content just to stay there, and nothing's really happening, and the crowd starts booing. I get it. That's one thing. But Jesus fuck, Mark Smith. They were on the ground for like 15 seconds, and he's bitching at him to start. Let's work. Let's work. It pisses me off. So, what do I have here? Mark Smith starts telling him to fucking work. Yeah, that pisses me off. He had him in a lockdown. Anyway, I believe that's how the fight ends. Is that I'm just trying to see. I think I figured it out. Yeah, Paku's saying Mark Smith always rushes the stand guys up. Yeah, he absolutely was being active. I mean, he could not, even if he was trying to stall, he was only doing it for 10 seconds. So, what the fuck are you even bitching about at that point? So, by the end of the fight, they're both bloody. When Dober hit that lateral drop, he tried to do it again later in the second round, and it didn't work. And that's exactly what happens is you pull the guy right the fuck on top of you. So, but the first time he did it, he threw Moicano, and I think when he threw him, it somehow opened up a cut on his eye. And then when Money was on top, landing his ground and pound from that lockdown position, he opened up a cut on Dober. So by the end of the fight, they were both bloody. And then Money Moicano has his, you know, his moment on the mic where he fucking calls out Guru, and I'm sure Guru was fucking creamed his pants at that point. Like, oh my god, somebody's, and I get it, you know, like he's he's doing what I'm trying to do at a much higher successful level. But personally, I just think he's too negative. I'm not into calling fighters bums and you know this guy sucks and whatever. It's just not my style. He's getting called out by a fighter because he talks so much shit. In fact, I think Money Moicano called him a fucking pig or something like that. So, good for him, I guess. You know, he had but Money had a good. He took the mic and he said that he loves. I have a comment here. I'm not into Guru. Very childish with the very childish audience. Yeah, yeah. I agree. It's immature. It's like not my kind of shit. Um, you know, you're a member of MMA Experts page. It's just positive. It's just kind of like the audience that AJ cultivated. He's not, you know, when guys try and troll him, it doesn't bother him that much. He doesn't get all flustered. He's not very negative. You know, he doesn't talk shit about fighters, and I enjoy that. That's why I stuck around. And I think AJ cultivated just the opposite of what Guru did. Guru cultivated a bunch of immature dorks. I'm sure his chat is fucking loaded with 17-year-old immature fucking dorks, you know? But good for Money Moicano. He ends up winning. I can't remember if it was split or unanimous, but he gets the decision win. Has a moment on the mic where he says that he's not an American yet, but he's working on his citizenship and he loves America and he wants to be a cop and he's gonna kill the bad guys and he loves his wife and he's gonna have a lot of children and good for him. He just seems like a cool dude. Paku is unanimous 29-28. All right, good for him. But Money Moicano seems like the kind of guy I'd fucking hang out with. You know, he seems like if he trained at my gym or I trained at his or whatever, we'd hang out and go get lunch and talk about fights and shit. So then now we're on to the main event, bro. And right now it's just me and my boy Paku in the chat. So I'm just talking to you. I appreciate you, man. This is cool. I get to get a little experience doing this shit, and you get to listen to me ramble on about MMA. But what can I say about Dolidze and Imavov? Imavov is just a better striker, flat out. His timing's better. He's crisper. He's more accurate when his shots landed. It seemed like he didn't have to throw them as hard, and they had more of a effect on Dolidze. So he really, instead of going through everything fucking note by note, Imavov just fucking pieced him up. Dolidze would have a moment. He would push him up against the cage. He'd have, they would be in a position where Dolidze has an overhook and an underhook. So obviously so does Imavov. He has an overhook and an underhook. And he holds him there. He can't do any damage. Eventually, Imavov fucking says, "It's cool, bro. I'm really chill. Use me as I really appreciate this. This is awesome. Last Saturday, was my official first day of having a YouTube page, and I wanted to go live ever since. I couldn't wait. This is a lot more natural for me than just trying to ramble on in front of this camera with like notes, especially because, like I said, I don't have a laptop or a tablet or anything where I could have like pull Tapology up and reference it. So I couldn't wait to go live, and then I was at the grocery store and I got a notification from YouTube that they unlocked my live feature. So I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go home and make Paku fucking watch me ramble for an hour. Right now I've been rambling for 43 minutes. I figure I'll do another 15. We'll go for an hour, and then I gotta eat some food and talk to my wife for once today. So, yeah, Imavov is just a better striker all around. But he couldn't put Dolidze away. Dolidze is tough as fucking nails. I really don't see either one of these guys being champ or even challenging for the title. But I do see him being like, they might be able to get up to like top 3 maybe sometime. But Imavov is just a next level striker. Now, it did seem when the brief moment Dolidze was able to take him to the ground, it seemed like Imavov wanted no fucking part of that. And when they did have scrambles, Dolidze is obviously the better grappler. But he just did not feel confident shooting a takedown. So a lot of times you'll see a guy. It's super hard, especially if a guy is able to fucking knee you in the face. It's really hard to shoot in a double leg in open space. We watch these guys week in and week out on the UFC do it, and it's so fucking impressive. If you've never tried to shoot a blast double on somebody in open space and have it work, it's very difficult. And then, like I just said, throw in the fact that they can knee you in the head when you try. It's crazy when When a guy, duck hits that duck walk, gets behind both legs, turns the corner, and takes the guy down in the middle of the cage, it's a fucking thing of beauty to me. But so because it's so difficult, guys will get in tight and push their opponent up against the cage. From there, they can use that wall as, to their advantage. Whenever you're grappling, whether it be on the ground or on the feet, underhooks are the key. They're the key to control. You want to swim your arm underneath your opponents and have double unders, typically. Um, so when you're up against the cage, that's the battle. You see guys, they're both swimming. We'll do that in practice where you're just constantly digging underhooks. So if you're the guy who's up against the cage, what you want to do is dig 2 double unders. Now, what's up, Nate Brown? You want to dig double unders, turn off, get your back to the open mat, and go from there. If you're the guy working for the takedown, you want to get your double underhooks. This way it opens. Now you don't have anything between, you don't have the guy's arms in the way when you drop down, try to get underneath his butt, pick him up, and take him down. But for whatever reason, Dolidze wanted no part of changing levels and grabbing Imavov by his legs and dragging him down to the mat. I don't know. When you're in there, I'm sure you could speak to this and the striking aspect, but you can kind of feel, you have a feel of how things are going. I'm sure with striking, before you throw a punch, you kind of have a feel of whether or not it's going to work. And it's like that with grappling. You can feel a guy's strength and his speed and his movement, and you kind of know ahead of time, like, if I try and dig this double leg, it's probably not going to work. So I have a feeling that's what Dolidze was feeling. He just was not confident to drop to his knees, give up the position, get sprawled on, and then Imavov gets back to the center of the cage. What he can do in that instance is drop to a single leg. A single leg is the most effective takedown in all of grappling. I don't care what it is. The most common takedown in high school wrestling, collegiate wrestling, freestyle, folk style. I don't know about Greco-Roman. Well, obviously not Greco-Roman because that's all upper body. But jiu-jitsu, it's a single leg. It's so much easier to get your arms around one of their legs as opposed to two, and then from there you have so many things you could do. What I was really hoping Dolidze was going to do was drop down to a single and then do what we call run the pipe, which is basically he's going to take a back step holding his leg while he bows his upper body. So, and as you take that back step and make that circle, that's going to force Imavov to force his weight forward, and he has no support that way. So I was really hoping that that's what Dolidze was going to do, but he did not feel confident. Imavov dug his double underhooks, turned his back to the open mat, circled away, got back to the center of the ring, and just continued to fucking piece Dolidze up. Nate Brown says, I just don't understand anything Roman did. His striking was awful, and the clinching with no direction was terrible. I think he was just outclassed. I mean, his striking wasn't necessarily awful. Imavov's was just way fucking better. If Dolidze was going to win that fight with strikes, it was going to come from Imavov throwing something first and Dolidze throwing a big overhand counter where he ducks his head, doesn't look, and just catches Imavov on the fucking chin. He was not going to throw a nice combination and get inside Imavov. Paku says Imavov was just way more technical at distance striking. Absolutely. 100%. He was on another level, which, okay, well, this is MMA, so we have grappling. What I don't understand is why Dolidze didn't work a single leg or a body lock or something else, he was able to get Imavov up against the cage. Now that's 30% of the way to a takedown. I think he was just so happy to not be in the center of the ring getting punched in the face that he was afraid to risk anything to lose the position that he had. He was also fucking exhausted. Now, don't let me take anything away from Delidze because that dude is tough as fuck. I had a bet on Delidze, and when Imavov looked to see if his hand was on the mat and then had a fucking brain fart and straight fucking just kicked homeboy right in the fucking face, I'm like, this is it. Delidze, if he can't continue, I'm going to win my bet. But Delidze did not have that bitch in him. He wanted to win that fight fucking fair and square. Paku says Roman needs to learn manage distance. Start with straight shots, establish range, then look for the big power. Well, as a boxer, I'm gonna just defer to your experience. Like I said, the technical aspect of striking, I'm not that up on. Like I couldn't tell you what Delidze needed to do to be better than Imavov. And to my untrained eye, Imavov was just a superior striker. If you ask me what Delidze should do, I would say he should do whatever Imavov is doing, and just do it better. But so then round 4, Delidze does get him to the ground. That's what happened. Fucking Imavov boots him in the fucking face, but he doesn't go out like no bitch. They were saying maybe a toe or something poked him in the eye. Herb Dean takes a point, and Delidze comes out like a bat out of hell, just fucking swinging his hammers, hoping to hit something. And I don't know if he hit Imavov or what, but it gave him what he needed to shoot that fucking blast double. Took his legs, got him up against the cage, and I'm like, fuck yes, here we go. But he wasn't able to control him. Imavov did what he needed to do. Got his back to the fence, did his wall walk. Now, it looked like Delidze was going to Khabib his legs, what everyone is now calls the Khabib, where you actually figure 4 your opponent's legs inside of yours as you suck their hips away from the cage. Once you get their hips far enough away from the cage, their upper body goes down, and if you're like Khabib and you can continue that fucking triangle all the way up, once you get to their hips, now you're in mount. We watched Khabib fucking dominate everyone in the UFC at lightweight for years doing this. But Khabib doing it, or Habib doing it, and Delidze doing it are two different things. He wasn't able to do it at all. Imavov was able to wall walk, get his back to the cage, stand up, and then that was it. Also, Delidze, when there was a scramble, every time Imavov got behind him, he looked to try and roll for a knee bar, which, if you're that confident in your grappling that you're going to risk getting your back taken so you can try and get a low percentage knee bar, then why aren't you going all out trying to get a single leg or a body lock takedown? Again, Nate Brown says all Roman threw was looping overhands. He even had a chance to take the back, but let it go. I did see that. He did. It did look like he had a chance to take the back. I would have to watch it back to see exactly what happened in that situation. But he kept trying to fucking roll underneath for a knee bar, which is like a super low percentage submission. And like I was saying before, if you're that confident in your grappling, then go all out and get the takedown, which is easier said than done. Here I am sitting in my comfortable fucking chair talking into my phone. But he said, sorry to interrupt, but a guy just got a rear naked choke with no hooks in. That is I don't want to say it's common, but it's a thing. One thing my professor is big on in as you're learning jujitsu in the very beginning, we we always say position before submission. We don't want beginners to jumping on arm bars and shit without controlling the position. But as you get a little bit higher level, we it's strangles above all else. If I can get behind you and I can get my elbow to the point of your neck and slide my other hand behind it, I don't need my fucking hooks. I know um, all I need is 8 seconds of that blood not going to your brain for you to be out. So it's actually not that uncommon for guys to finish rear naked chokes with no hooks in from the back. Um, where can I watch for free? He's talking about the Road to UFC. Oh, that's right. Fight Pass. They have fights on there. Paku, how many fights um, do they have tonight? That's right. I gotta get Fight Pass. I have a bullshit like streaming service thing that I watch all the fights on. I mean, I have ESPN Plus for fight nights, but like pay per view and stuff, I still pay for all the pay per views. I just also have a streaming service on my Fire Stick that I use to get them. But what the fuck were we talking about? Oh, how about that shit with uh, I want to say Curtis Blades. It's not Curtis Blades. Not 100% sure. Just got it on the side while I'm watching you. Nate Brown says also Imavov did a good job framing off in the clinch in round one, but basically abandoned it the rest of the fight. Yeah, he did. I think it was because he didn't want to waste that much energy um, when they were up against the fence because Dolidze didn't pose any threat. He wasn't dropping down for any singles or anything. So why waste the energy to fucking push off this guy's face as hard as you can and fill your arms up with even more blood if the guy's not even that much of a threat? Just keep dig the underhooks until you get double unders and spin off the cage and beat the fuck out of him. That's what he did. But Chris Curtis, I don't know what was said. I haven't watched any of the post fight shit, but Chris Curtis said something to Imavov, and that pissed him off because they have their beef. I don't remember the fight offhand, but from what was being said on the broadcast was that during their last fight there was a clash of heads, and then Curtis couldn't continue, and Imavov basically thinks he's a bitch for that. But so it was a crazy fourth round with all these scrambles. The fifth round was just more of the same. I mean, Imavov just completely outclassed Lidze. I think he rolled for some fucking knee bars and ankle locks and shit. And it was a great fight. Great main event. Great co-main event. Good night of fights in general. Um, Once we got past the first three, we were kind of rolling there. So I have right now I've been going for 58 minutes. Um, so I think I'm going to be calling it pretty soon here. I just wanted to come on here. I really appreciate you guys that are in the chat. Um, Let me know what you thought of my first ever, the inaugural Spartacus MMA live chat. Thanks for your time, bro. Thank you, Paku, man. I really appreciate your feedback. Um, if there's anything that you guys I'm open to all suggestions, tips, tricks. Like I said, I have a new microphone on the way. It should be coming. You talk really well, mate. You must be a coach, right? Um, I teach beginners jujitsu. That's about it. But I actually went to school. If you're ever in the chat on AJ's chat, or you might be a member of his channel, it is Main Card Minute is the name of the YouTube channel.
I really was disappointed with the fights. Way too much clinching for my liking. Chuck upset Dober Moicano Thambo bonus. Yeah, I mean, I'm just so happy to have fights. It's so hard for me to bitch about a night of fights. I look forward to Saturday night so much watching MMA, and the fact that we have fights every week. I it's hard for me to be disappointed. If the UFC ever decides to do like an all women's card, I will be fucking disappointed then. But right now, it's just so nice. I mean, being a football fan, it's, you know, such a short season. Like, I was talking to my dad the other day, and he's like, fuck, man, football just, I feel like it just started. It's over already. Says, I'll give you a little tip. You should get a live stream ready right after AJ finishes one, and he will send you. Absolutely. This was the reason this is my first ever live stream is because I was just able to go live as of like 40 minutes ago, or I've been on for 60 minutes. So as of like 2 hours ago, I got a notification from YouTube that I can go live. That's why I wanted to do this. It's going to be much smoother too. Like I said, I'm going to get a laptop or a tablet so I can follow along with the chat. Right now, and I'm going to keep my phone for the camera. The fight of the year for me is Max versus Justin 100%. At least I know there is no chance that fight is boring. No fucking way. As you can see right here, Max Holloway is my favorite fighter, and he's going to be my last favorite fighter. Um, I'm a mod, so I can drop your links and stuff. I'll try and get you a few. Paku, I appreciate that, and I want you to be a mod for my channel too, because as I do get more subscribers and shit, um, and the chat starts to grow, obviously you're a great fucking dude. So just let me know how I can make you a mod, and I'll do it. But what the fuck was I just saying? Paku, you the man. You're the man too, Nate Brown. I appreciate you coming in here and talking it up with me. What the fuck was I just rambling about a second ago? Oh, yeah, getting my tablet and all that shit set up. This way, I can follow along with the chat here, and I'm just gonna have um, my phone as the camera. I mean, you can't beat these cameras on these fucking iPhones. Like, there's no way I'm gonna get a laptop with that nice of a webcam. I would have to go ahead, buy another camera, set that up. But as far as the background and the lighting, I don't know if you guys have any tips for that kind of shit. I mean, I wanted to put up some like MMA, jiu-jitsu. This is actually a puzzle. I bought it off of what the fuck? Sumo, something sumo. I got it off of Instagram. And I thought it was a poster actually. For a phone, it's really great quality. Yeah, and I think I'm actually able to upgrade, so I might go and look and try and find the phone that has the best camera and upgrade then. I'm gonna keep using my phone as a camera. I just wanna get a little more set up. But no, this is a fucking puzzle. Um, if you can see right there, right where my fucking pinky is, you can see it looks kind of dark. That's actually a missing puzzle piece. This is a puzzle of all the not all, but a lot of the different jujitsu submissions. It has the English term and then the original Japanese term, like Mata Leon, which is Ushiro Hadake Jimmy is a rear naked choke, but Mata Leon is what the Brazilians called the rear naked choke, the lion killer. So it has. Anyway, it's a fucking. I thought it was a poster when I bought it. It was like $30 or something like that, or I can't remember how much it was. But it's a fucking 1,000 piece puzzle with these little tiny pieces, and I haven't. I don't fucking do puzzles. Like, what the fuck? Awesome, man. Yeah, I'll keep bringing the jujitsu knowledge. I'm a huge grappling fucking dork. I love it. But yeah, so this is a fucking puzzle, and it's sat here. This is actually like my spare room that I'm in now, and now it's my studio. But before it was my studio, it was my spare room, and I just had it in a fucking box. I'm like, oh, all right. Well, I got a 1,000 piece puzzle. I guess I'll start putting it together, and I started my daughter's 17 years old. She was probably 15 at the time, and I'm like, this would be something cool we could start doing together. Like 2 hours in, and we got like 6 pieces put together. And we're like, there's no fucking way. I'll be 67 years old by the time this fucking puzzle is put together. So then I put all the pieces back in the box, and I'm like, fuck, dude. I actually put a comment out on my Facebook for anybody who knows how to put puzzles together. I'll pay them to put this together. Actually, it turned out my boss or my wife's boss is like a big puzzle person. She put this thing together in like a couple nights. So yeah, it's a puzzle. You can actually there's people who do puzzles all the time and put them together and frame them and shit. So Ajay's not too bad, mate. I had 40% of my bankroll on Kiziev. So, alright, guys. I appreciate everyone who came into the chat today. Like I said, if you have anything that will help improve your experience as viewers, listeners, let me know. Drop a comment. I'd like to, I don't know, do something with the background a little bit. One thing that I have is cool is, I don't know if you guys ever seen them. They're called MMA bobbleheads. This dude makes bobbleheads of UFC fighters, but he's not licensed through the UFC, so they're called MMA bobbleheads. So he just has to, he calls the fighters, and he gets their permission or whatever. I don't know how he works it out. He's on Instagram. It's called MMA bobbleheads, and he makes these fucking bobbleheads that are like, I don't know, 6 inches tall. They're like super well, like good quality. They're like fucking $90 a piece. Oh, I'll show you guys. Here he is, MMA bobblehead guy. But they come in these fucking boxes. They're like super good quality. This is the autographed Chuck Liddell one. And like I said, they're like $80 to $120. Actually, no, I don't collect cards at all. The only thing, I don't collect anything really, except these MMA bobbleheads I got. And he's got a fucking Randy Couture one. Anyway, I got like 8 of these bobbleheads now, and I went and bought like these really nice shelves, and I put them up in my living room. My wife fucking hates them because we have fucking bobbleheads in our living room. But they're super cool, and I would like to like put them up here somewhere, but I don't know where to put them. I guess I could get a shelf and put like one down here, and like, or I could probably fit like 4 down there, maybe a couple above my head and a couple over here. I don't know. That'd be cool, but I don't. It's funny that you just asked me, do you collect cards? I don't actually, but I just look to my left and I see I have a bunch of fucking UFC cards here, and I don't collect them. Do you guys collect them? If any of you guys collect these cards, I'll fucking I'll just send them to you. I got I got a bunch of them Nate Brown says, bro, I love UFC cards. Would you be interested in these? I'll show you guys. I went through and I fucking just put little sticky notes. Like these are like my Izzy card, the Israel Adesanya ones. Miscellaneous. Fucking Khabib. Habib Nurmagomedov. Habib. Fuck. This fucking chat. Like I said, bro, I need to figure this shit out. I was gonna buy a box, but they're a bit pricey. I love cards. Can't wait for you to hit 100 subs. Fuck yeah, dude. I can't wait for 100 subs. 1,000. 100,000. I can't fucking going all the way to the top, dude. The motherfucking top. Anyway, if you guys are interested in these fucking cards and you appreciate, like I said, I got a fucking stack of them here. These are just sticky notes. I separated them and organized them. But if you guys are interested in these and you appreciate them, I'll send them to one of you. I really don't give a shit. I'd rather somebody who appreciates them have them than they just sit here and collect dust. Hit me up on... What the fuck can you hit me up on? I don't have this linked to my, like, personal, what would you call it? Instagram or anything like that. So, I don't know. Hit me up in the chat. I'll reach out to you. I'll hit you up on Discord. I can pay you for the ones I want. I'm not on Discord. Should I get a Discord? I'm collecting Brian Battle rookie cards. The Prism rookie set will likely run a couple grand, though. Holy shit. I got a story for you guys. So, the reason I don't collect stuff is, believe it or not, for sure, Discord is the spot. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys a story in a second. But Nate Brown, Discord is the spot. Forgive me, I'm fucking old and technologically retarded. But is Discord an app or like a site? Do I download an app to my phone? And then once I do, how do I find you on the Discord? So, comment that. And then... Discord is an app. Alright, so as soon as I get off here, I'm going to download the Discord app. And then, what? Like, is there different MMA ones and shit? It's for PC, but you can get it on your phone app. Alright, cool. I don't think I'm going to do the PC thing. If I could post links, I could send an invite. Alright. Yeah, post the link. I mean, I don't know if you want to... Don't post it in here. I don't know if the comments get saved or not because it's live. If you want to post the link on one of my other videos, like comment on one of those, Pick'em MMA has one. A ton of people do. Alright, yeah, dude. I'm all about it. And just let me know. I'll get your information and shit. I'll send you some UFC cards. But, so the reason I don't collect stuff. We all have, like, those moments in life where there's a saying, and I'm going to fuck it all up, but... It's something along the lines of, said I found your stream was Discord. That's awesome. Alright, so I'm going to fucking tell my story, and then I'll talk to you one more time about Discord. Something like basically the moments in our life that like mean the most are like less than 1/10 of 1% of the life that we live. You go on day after day with your mundane routine, day after day, and then it's the day that a loved one passes away, or the day you graduate college, or the day you get married, or the day your child is born. And those days all together add up to like a tiny little fraction of your life. The vast majority of your life is not that impactful. But one of the most impactful days I ever had was like 6 years ago. My um, parents' house got struck by lightning. My father just retired for a few years. He's been retired for a few years. Worked his whole life to save up to get to the point where he could retire, and he finally did. And then, fuck it, I'll make it. I won't give you the super long version, but my wife and my family, we were at my parents' house and having a birthday party. We actually had to leave for something, and we were gonna come back, and we decided, you know what, we're not gonna um, go back. It's fucking pouring rain. It's like 9 o'clock at night. We'll just go home. So we go back to our house where my phone rings at 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's my mom. She's like, "You got to get here right away. The house is on fire." And I'm like, "What? I was just at your fucking house like 30 minutes ago. What are you talking about?" But I hung up the phone, jumped in the car, and cranking down the throughway as fast as I possibly could. And it was raining harder. It might have been the hardest rain I was ever in my life. And then the whole fucking sky would light up with light. It was absolutely surreal. This is something out of a movie. So I get to the exit that for my parents' house, and I'm like still miles away from their house, and I can smell the fucking smoke, and I get like this horrible feeling. Then I get to the end of their road, and they live out in the country, and it's a wooded road. There's woods on both sides, and I can see at the end of the road, it's like glowing red. I'm like, oh my fucking god, dude. So I start to drive down the street, and this a cop stops me. He stops me from driving any further. So I fucking throw my truck into park. I jump out of my truck, and I just start running down the road. I run right past the police. I'm running through all the firemen and shit. I'm screaming. I'm like, "Where are the people who live in this house? Where are the people who live here?" And my mom called me the second she knew the house was on fire. She called 911, and then she called me, and then she got the fuck out of the house. Now it's like 15 minutes later from that point, and the entire house is engulfed. This two-story house is just completely engulfed with flames in minutes, and it burnt to the ground in an hour maybe. In about an hour, it went from a fucking house to a pile of ashes. And it was one of those things. It was one of those um, points in my life where my perspective changed. I was never the same person after that day, and it changed for the better. Believe it or not, um, it was difficult, but as a family, we were closer, and it taught me a lot. It taught me not to take things for granted. Um, and I say all that to say I don't really collect things anymore because I don't value like material things so much. I remember my dad collected cards. He collected football cards, and he had like O.J. Simpson rookies and all this shit, and it just gone. and it means nothing. So, in reality, the only thing that really matters in life is, in my opinion, is the relationships you have with other people and the impact you have on their lives. Like, everything you own, everything you ever will own, like, it can all be gone in a second, in an instant, you know? Like, tomorrow isn't promised today. Holy shit, are we getting way off fucking base here? Like, we came in here talking about MMA, and now I'm going on and on about my life fucking story here. But anyway, I still have to say, I don't collection anymore. So if you collect cards, um, I will fucking hook you up. Discord. I'm gonna get off this live chat, and I'm going to download the uh, Discord app. I appreciate it, dude. Just to cap that off, like I said, it was one of those experiences like that puts everything into perspective, you know, which is why I try. If I die tomorrow, I just want everyone who I've ever met and I've ever had contact with to be like, you know what, he was a good dude, you know, like he might not have fucking, you know, been the biggest, the strongest, the best at jujitsu or whatever the fuck, but he was just a good person. So, all right, guys, that's about it. J Mac made it, dude. You made it to my first ever fucking live stream. I am 81 minutes into this shit. Nate Brown says I have 3 kids and another one on the way, so I really felt that, Spartacus. Nate, dude, that is that's the fucking joy of life. Having children is the fucking that's what life's all about. I'm in a Facebook group called Jiu Jitsu Over 40 or something like that. And I'm not over 40, but you know, I'm also not 21, so I relate to the older guys more. Anyway, one of the posts was if you have advice for the 20-year-olds in here, what would it be? And some dude wrote like um, gave all this like super good financial advice, and then he was like, and then don't ever get married and don't ever have kids. And I'm like, bro, you who gives a fuck about all that money you just saved and all that money you just made? You don't have kids and you don't have a wife, you don't have people who are going to take care of you when you're old. Like, what's all that money matter? The fucking nursing home's going to take it. You can't take it with you. Like, you gave all this great advice, then you told the guy not to get married and have kids. That's what life's all about. I say, get married and have kids, and you'll figure out the money part along the way. The money doesn't fucking matter. Money comes and goes. You could be on top today, on the bottom tomorrow. That shit, I mean, you gotta earn a living. But to fucking tell a 20-year-old, he gave him all this great financial advice. Then he told him, "Oh yeah, and don't get married and don't have kids because financially it's going to be a burden." Like, you're a fucking idiot. That's why I said, win or lose, Alex is winning over Izzy. Max, fuck. I remember being homeless with my mom and brother. Nowadays, I really just don't need much to be grateful. The moment we settled in, I felt blessed. Dude, that's just it. I wake up every morning. Um, you know, not to be religious or whatever, but I wake up every morning and I just give thanks for everything I have for the people, man. Like, I lost some, you know, some people I loved a lot this past year, and it hurts. It still hurts real bad, but we are so all of us have so many things to be grateful for. If you had to make a list, the things that you have to be grateful for compared to the things that um, you know that aren't going good for you are, dude, we're so for there are so many people in this world that are, you know, dealing with so much shit. We're so lucky to be born in like a western country, you know, where we have shelter and food's readily available, and we have the ability to hang out and watch, you know, MMA and talk about it with our friends. Like, dude, Life is good, man. Life is great. So, all right, boys. I could fucking hang out with you dudes all night and rattle on about random shit. I grew up in foster care, ran away many foster homes. Family is everything if you have it. Thanks for the stream, brother. See you next. J Mac, 100%, dude. 100%. I'm sorry to hear that you had to go through that shit when you were a kid, but you absolutely came out the other side. You're a super good dude, man. You're doing big things. You said you're a machinist. Um, I seen you have a beautiful daughter. I seen your one kid. You got a beautiful family. You're fucking crushing it, bro. I'm glad you came by too, Nate Brown. Nate, hey, so these fucking things. I'm gonna make a Discord. I'm gonna get the Discord app, and then what do I do? How do I find you on Discord? Um, Gotta get some good lighting too. I got this fucking thing. Have a good night, bro. If I'm just waiting, I want. If anyone knows, I want to hook up with. I'm gonna get a Discord. Where do I find you guys? Like what? Nate Brown said he actually found me from a Discord. So, um, how do I find you motherfuckers once I download it? Are you going live next, Justin? Who's going live after this? I want to come watch one of you, dude. He says, "All right. As soon as I make an account and add one of you, all right. What are your names?" It says pick. Okay, so go to Pickham's fucking YouTube thing, and he has a link to it. All right, awesome, awesome. This is the light I was using. My daughter is a hairdresser, and she clips this on her shit and cuts hair. All right, cool, man. Who's going live after this? Justin, you doing it, buddy? Fucking, I'll go hang out with you. I gotta go eat some food. I'm fucking starving. Believe it or not, dude. All I've ate all day was a fucking AG1. Oh, we're all on Pickham's chat. All right, I'll see you guys over there. This was awesome. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. This fucking, I feel so much more natural doing this shit. I'm gonna get set up with my tablet, my laptop next time. Fucking, fuck yeah. But all right, guys. Until next time. Much love. Go Bills.